Everyone. I'd like to call to order the March 3rd, 2022 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. Nancy Bush is filling in today for our administrator, and she is going to call the roll.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. So first, I'd like to introduce our staff we have today. So first, we have Shannon Bays, and she is our clerk to the board, and we have Kathleen Rastetter here as our county counsel. Chair Smith is absent today, and so Shannon, would you please call the roll?
Oh. I don't normally do that. I was confused.
I'm so sorry.
Commissioner Fisher.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner Scholl.
Here.
Vice Chair Schrader.
Here.
All right, thank you.
It's going to be a fun meeting.
Yeah, the acting administrator was supposed to do that. I do apologize.
All right, no worries with that. Now I will lead us in a pledge of allegiance. So, okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. All right. So good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting virtually. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will prompt you regarding how to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. As always, the public is welcome to sign up to testify. Registration for public comment via Zoom is available online. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, all elected officials, and members of the public, that Robert's Rules of Order will be enforced in this business meeting. We welcome your opinions, and we look forward to your polite participation. So to start, colleagues, I will recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Development Agency Board. Nancy, can you cue up the first item, please?
Yes, first up, we have the Clackamas County Development Agency public hearing. And Shannon, if you'll please bring over Dave Queener and also Mike Besner for us. This is the approval of resolution for Clackamas County Development Agency supplemental budget greater than 10% for fiscal year 2021-2022. The effect is an increase in appropriations of $551,181 funded through urban renewal tax increment financing. So David, I will turn it over to you and Mike.
Great, thank you so much. Again, Dave Queener. I am the manager for the development agency here at the county. And we're before you today to submit a supplemental budget request. This supplemental budget request is required due to a project that we have that's just been recently completed. It's the Clackamas Regional Center Mobility Improvement Project. And during construction, ran into some issues that caused some delays. Those were related to COVID-19 with supply chain issues, material issues, that type of thing, which kind of delayed the project from a contractor's perspective, not by any fault of his, but what that did is extended the amount of time that we needed an oversight by our consultants and our internal staff. In addition, we had some unexpected retirements that happened staffing wise. So that actually caused us to need to go outside for additional inspection on the project. And for those reasons, what we are requesting today is to move from our contingency fund over into our capital line in the total amount of $551,181. And this supplemental budget request would accomplish that for us.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Queener at this point? And I see Commissioner Savas has his hand up.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for your presentation. That's a significant overage. Could you tell me what the total project cost is and what percentage of that is 551,000 or vice versa?
Sure. So the construction project, the construction cost itself is about $23.8 million was construction costs. The Oversight and design on the project was about 6.8 million roughly. And then, so this overage is the 551,000 relates to the 6.8 million on the oversight and design of the project. I would also note overall on the project, even with this cost increase, the project itself is coming under budget by about $300,000, even with this cost increase. So we did have some savings as well on the construction side. So.
Okay, so if, I'm a little bit confused then. If it was bid and planned for a larger amount and we're under, I'm just a little bit confused why we have an overage.
The overage that we're talking about here has to do with the consultant side. The construction project side, that's where we have we're coming in under budget, if that makes sense. So the construction was about $23.8 million. There's two separate contracts. We have a construction contract and we have a consultant contract. And the construction contract is coming in under budget. So the overall combined is coming in under.
Okay, yeah, again,
Yeah.
as projects are presented to us, they usually include construction and soft cost, the project in its entirety. So I guess that's why I'm really kind of struggling, trying to understand if it's under budget. Usually, again, those projects include soft and hard cost being construction, soft cost being consulting or whatever that may be. So I'm just a little bit, I don't have a problem with it. I'll support it, but I just don't know that it necessarily conveys a level of confidence that when we go out to bid that, and the project's got a total cost, that we would be allocating more money to a project if it's under budget. Just doesn't seem logical.
Dave,
at least on the appearances, I understand your explanation. I'm not going to dispute that. Just doesn't seem logical.
Dave, is it because they're different budget lines?
They are different budget lines.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, so that, thank you, Mike, for that clarification.
All right. Commissioners, anybody else want to make a comment? I'm not seeing any hands up at this point. So Shannon, I'll open this up for a public hearing. Is there anyone registered or online who would like to speak to this topic?
Currently do not have anyone registered to speak on this topic, but at this time we have, if you are online and would like to speak as a part of this public hearing, please use the raise hand feature and I will call on you in the order of the hands being raised. I do not see any hands raised on this topic, Chair, and so that is the end of my list.
Okay, thank you. So I am now going to close the public hearing, and may I have a motion, colleagues?
Move to approve.
Okay, we got a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Oh, I said I seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't.
But it's okay, Chair Schrader, I'm good with you seconding.
Nope, I'm fine with you seconding it. I just didn't hear you, but I got you now.
Probably because
All right.
I didn't talk loud enough.
That's okay. It has been moved by Commissioner Savas and seconded by Commissioner Sonia Fisher. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, Shannon, can you please call the poll?
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schrader.
Aye, the motion is approved. So now we'll adjourn as the Development Agency Board and reconvene as the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners for the duration of this meeting. Nancy, what's next?
So next we have our consent agenda, and Shannon, could you please read the consent agenda for us?
Finance, approval of a Clackamas County supplemental budget resolution less than 10% for fiscal year 2021-2022. The effect is an increase in appropriations of $830,414, funded through beginning fund balance and federal and state operating grants. Health, Housing, and Human Services, approval of Amendment Number 5 to the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Oregon, acting by and through its Oregon Health Authority for operation as the local public health authority for Clackamas County. This amendment adds $131,887.50, bringing the contract not to exceed value to $10,636,087.64. Funding is provided by the state of Oregon. No county general funds are involved. Community Corrections, approval of a lease amendment and extension with the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission for the Community Corrections Facility at 9000 Southeast McBride Avenue, Milwaukee, Oregon. This amendment extends the term of the lease on a month-to-month basis with termination date of June 30th, 2025 at a cost of $1 annual rent funded by county general funds. Business and Community Services, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Gladstone for Gladstone Library Site Ground Lease. Total cost is $1 per year, funded by Library District and City of Gladstone funds. No county general funds are involved. Administration, approval of a statutory warranty deed with the Clackamas County Historical Society regarding a small portion of the site of the Museum of Oregon Territory. Total cost is $1, funded through budgeted county general funds. Elected officials, approval of amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Wilsonville for law enforcement services. This amendment adds $595,393.65 for a 3-year pilot program, providing a mental health service professional to support law enforcement with crisis response. The City of Wilsonville is billed monthly for actual costs related to the service, funded by the City of Wilsonville. No county general funds are involved. And approval of the previous business meeting minutes. That is the end of my list, Chair.
So does any commissioner wish to remove anything from the agenda? Seeing none, I would enter, excuse me, Commissioner Fisher, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda, but I did just want to say, I want to take this opportunity, the work with the Historical Society and the deed and getting that all in place. What makes me really happy, and I want to make sure the public knows, is that this board did authorize some funding in our last budget cycle to assist with our history, and it just warms my heart because keeping our history alive, which is so rich and interesting, is very important. So just want to take that opportunity. But with that, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
Seconded.
Okay, so Commissioner Fisher has moved the consent agenda and it's been seconded by Commissioner Shull. Shannon, can you call the poll, please? Oh, do we have any, we don't have any other discussion as far as I can tell. Is that correct?
Chair Schrader, I'll thank you for the opportunity. I just want to say I appreciate Commissioner Fisher's words. It's refreshing to hear that this morning.
Good. All right, have I missed anything, anybody? Can we call the poll now, Shannon? Okay, let's go for it.
Commissioner Savas?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Shull?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schrader?
Aye, it is approved. Fantastic. So we are now at the point of our meeting for public communication. This portion of the agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon revised statutes and county code. Comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as part of the public record. However, we will not be reading them at the business meetings due to time constraints. So I will now open the meeting for public testimony. And Shannon, I understand that Tammy Stevens is here, who is the chair of the Beaver Creek Hamlet, and she wanted to give us an update. And we give to our CPO community planning organizations and our hamlets and villages 5 minutes to speak. So is Tammy here, and would she like to speak? Hi, Tammy.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
I will
okay.
allow her. Tammy, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence, and you will have 5 minutes.
Thank you very, very much. Good morning, commissioners. Tammy Stevens, chair of the Hamlet of Beaver Creek here with our quarterly community communications. Thank you again for providing us 5 minutes to give our report. We've had over 13 land use applications to share and discuss with our citizens in order to provide the planning department with input for their decisions. Some included 5 temporary homes for care, replacing a dwelling on an exclusive farm use property, 4 home occupation permits, a request for a coffee cart, a request for an event center, and 2 of which came before you all. Removal of a historical overlay and a conditional use for an addiction recovery center. We want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for supporting our request to minimize the vehicle registration fee for trailers and our serious code enforcement issue along Beaver Creek Road, hoarding of debris, vehicles, chemicals, etc. Your response to our letter asking for support resulted in a progressive and appreciated cleanup. In October, we had an unprecedented election. Our Beaver Creek board is comprised of 7 members, but with the inclusion of the Karis area and a revision of our bylaws, our board may expand up to 10 members. In October, 3 incumbent board members were re-elected by citizens, and a new member, Mark Hilliard, who owns property in Karis, was added to the board. On the 4th Wednesday of each month, we have a community meeting and host guest speakers to keep our citizens informed and engaged. Lieutenant Mendoza from the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office joins us frequently to keep us posted on local activity and provides advice. Katie Wilson, our county staff liaison, joins us at our quarterly town hall meetings to keep us posted on county activities. Over the past 6 months, we've had Mike Besner sharing current and future transportation information and funding, Chris Lyons and Trent Wilson sharing legislative updates, Bob Knorr providing upcoming local road activities, and the Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District's new district manager, Chris Lapp, shared his bio and plans for the district. Beaver Creek is the district's home, and we're working together to provide programs and resources to support our county citizens. We have upcoming speakers addressing residential solar, PGE activities, and more transportation activity by Joe Merrick. Many of our board members serve on numerous county advisory boards and commissions. We want to thank our board member, Kenny Cernat, for becoming the new C4 Hamlet representative and one of the newest county budget committee members. This winter, we learned about a program called Backpack Buddies, which provides food during the weekends for our children in need. This program is supported by our local church pantries, and we are now working with them to help support this program. 3.5 years ago, our large wooden hamlet signs were removed to accommodate a subdivision. On February 5th, after extensive renovations of the signs, they were replaced in the heart of our hamlet. Volunteers truly do amazing things. 3 of our transportation gurus on our board met with the county's transportation specialist February 9th via Zoom to discuss Beaver Creek's growth and insufficient transportation. The team created a plan to work hand in hand with the state, county, and city to bring the need for planning and funding to the forefront. 4 of our board members and 5 county citizens participated in the development of 8 videos explaining why we chose to get vaccinated. This was an incredible county project. And if you haven't seen the videos, please take a 30-minute lunch break and watch them on YouTube. We again modified our tree lighting ceremony to keep our community safe. On December 4th, we gathered at the corner park, handed out stockings full of goodies, and rang in the holidays with music and the lighting of our blue spruce tree. Beaver Creek has 2 unofficial parks and now an official parks committee co-chaired by Mark and Cindy Hilliard. Parks are a very safe and fun way to build community, and our cup runneth over with ideas not only for fundraising but also community events. Stay tuned. We are incredibly thankful for our newest volunteer, Diana Kreitz, our social media director. From daily Facebook posts to supporting our website to become user-friendly, our meeting participation has skyrocketed. Our corner park has a new lending library built, artistically designed, and installed by volunteers. Please come have lunch at Kiss and Kate's, see the newly erected signs, and take a moment to see our beautiful library. For the over 10,000 Beaver Creek residents, we want to thank you for your time and your support.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah. I think we've been working together since what, 1997?
A very long time. Yeah.
At least, yeah. I remember working on a bill in Salem with you folks back in the day. And you've always been so fun to work with. And I'm not supposed to play favorites with our hamlets and and things of that sort. But I just love you guys out there in Beaver Creek. And colleagues, anybody else want to raise their hand? And I see Commissioner Savas and say some things. Yeah.
Well, very, very impressive, Tammy. Very comprehensive and right on time with seconds to spare. So well done, well done. I just want to acknowledge, Tammy, that you have been so involved with your community, and you pour in tons of hours, whether it's for the hamlet or your local community on many things. But in particular, what I want to point out this morning, as an aside to your presentation, which again, thank you for that, is that the work you do on the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
And I think it is. I think it's emblematic of what I think the Board of County Commissioners ought to aspire to when it comes to the dedication and focus on the issues that come before you. And I know that sometimes after hours of testimony and a lot of work and discussion and deliberations on the part of the Planning Commission, sometimes doesn't even compare to the short amount of time that we as a commission sometimes involve ourselves in on the very same issue that comes before us. So you're doing the lion's share of the work, in essence, is what I'm trying to say. Can you, Tammy, I just have a question. Can you just tell me, on average, how many hours you think you spend both at home studying, or no, I'll make it easy. Tell me how many hours of time you think that the Planning Commission spends as a collaborative group working on an average on any particular issue that comes before the Planning Commission.
Oh, wow. Good question. The last couple years, we have not had near the hearings that we normally would have. But I would say we get a packet. I probably spend 3 to 4 hours reading through it. Again, sometimes they come in a box, so I spend a couple days going through it. But I think on average, 3 to 4 really reading, studying, and then, of course, the meeting, which is a couple hours. A lot of times we have work sessions prior to our hearings, so we might have a few of those. So average, I'm going to say 6 hours per hearing at least.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right. I see Commissioner Fisher's hand is up.
Thank you. So Tammy, I just couldn't let this moment go by as you were talking and giving the report. I just kind of went on the trip of Beaver Creek with you to the corner park and along and seeing and visualizing. And that's because when I was a baby commissioner, Bill Merchant took me along on a very rainy day. I'll never forget the rain, through all of the unique and beautiful characteristics of the community, and really shared with me the flavor, the heart, and the spirit, which I have been able to garner and participate in. Pre-COVID, we could actually go to meetings, but during COVID, we could engage and have Zoom conversations and work on issues that are so important to everyone in the community. And it's so important, the communication that you have with us. It makes such a difference in our ability to be good leaders and responsive to the needs of the community. So thank you for being one of my most trusted advisors, and always being on the end of an email or a phone call, because I don't have all the answers, and sometimes good conversation and collaboration is where we get to good results. So
thank you. Thank you, all of you. I really, really appreciate this. Prior, we used to get a chance to get in front of you about once a year, and us Hamlets especially realize that is nowhere near enough. So I'm super thrilled that you value this and that we get the opportunity to continue to do this quarterly. So we'll see you in 3 months, and thank you again.
Tammy, thanks. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So, Shannon, can you moderate the remainder of the session? I believe that we are now continuing our public testimony. So take it away, my friend.
Thank you. I have a list of registered participants, and if anyone is on Zoom that did not have a chance to register online, please use the raise hand feature. I'll call on the registered participants first, and then the raised hands in the order that they were received. First up is Chips Jenger. Chips, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Hello, acting chair and commissioners. Thank you for the privilege of being here. I want to speak about our wonderful library that we're in the process of building. And I briefly just have a few comments. 5 years ago, several of you know, we almost lost our library. It was quite a time. I was soon after that privileged to be elected as the chair of the Clackamas County Library in Oak Grove. And I had a lot of meetings that were not on Zoom in those days. We used to drive around a lot, and I had meetings with some of you with meetings about this, and meetings with the acting chair, the chair at the time, meetings with the county manager at the time. And as a result, we were able to keep our library, and it was a very exciting time, and it's been exciting ever since because we've been planning on building it. Recently, as you know, we had some other difficult problems here. We weren't sure which direction this was going to go, but I'm here to give good news. Good news. Because during the last week, as many of you know, the library board voted unanimously to recommend to the BCC to separate the library from the Concord School and have its own building. A couple of days later, the local our local I just forgot what it's called. Our local community group voted also, without any dissenting votes, the same thing, to separate the library from the Concord School, to build a great library in conjunction with a park. This could only be done because of your staff, and I'm here to thank you and your staff. I'm here to thank Cindy Becker, and I'm here to thank Gary Schmidt, because they made it possible. They told the library community that we were close enough, we could build a separate building. The county would make up the funds that weren't significant to be able to do that. As a result, there has been a lot of joy in Libraryville. There's been a lot of joy among the library community. And I felt that someone needs to come up and give a lot of thanks, because this thing was sort of dangling, and now it's not dangling. Now everybody's excited. The architects are excited. The library's community is excited. And I think you guys should be excited. And I wanted to come up and give thanks to your staff for allowing this to happen. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Chips. You know, we're all big supporters of libraries, and I know many people know I used to be a children's librarian in Oregon City in the school district. And don't ask me how I ended up as a commissioner, because I really liked that job. That was a fun job. And I love the kids. And I've always said that, you know, libraries are kind of a big bastion of democracy in this country. It's where anybody can get access to information with multiple media and really improve themselves. And Oregon City in particular has a Carnegie Library, because Andrew Carnegie actually back in the day, in the early 20th century, when he made a lot of, was a very wealthy man, and he was a self-made man, made it his mission to build libraries across the United States. So let's give a thumbs up to Andrew Carnegie and to all the library folks out in your area. This is one ribbon cutting I think we're all going to be really excited to be at. Colleagues, any other comments? I see Commissioner Sass.
Yeah, I just want to, thanks Chip for your comments today. Just want to acknowledge and let the public know and my colleagues know that the community has put in hundreds of hours since 2016 on the library, and hundreds of hours on the Concord project prior even to the public process that the NCPRD and library staff engaged in 2018. So it precedes all of that, the efforts at the Concord site where the library will be and where the Concord project and community center will be, ideally. I can't thank everyone enough for their dedication and commitment. Again, hundreds of hours individually, not collectively, individually by a lot of these members that have put their heart and soul in their community. And it was just unfortunate. I'm hoping maybe to talk about that later in the meeting this morning about really how we actually be a little bit more transparent, frankly, about how and what is really happening financially versus perhaps what they were led to believe in November. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, thank you, Chips, for your comments, and thank you to all the folks that have participated for years now.
Great. Thanks, Commissioner Savitz. Commissioner Fisher, you've got your hand up.
I just have to say thanks, Chips. And you know that you were, when I was also a baby commissioner, one that really educated me on all of the issues at the time and have continued to be an amazing resource to Clackamas County. And I am so excited that we are moving forward this way. I can't even express, my exuberance is there. This is what we do as a community, building libraries, creating community for years and generations to come. So thank you so much for being here today and for your comments.
Great. Shannon, anybody else up next?
Yes. Next up is Christine Kennedy. Christine, please unmute yourself, state your name and area of residence. You will have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Vice Chair Schrader, Administrator Johnson, commissioners and staff. My name is Christine Kennedy. I'm a retired nurse and grandmother of 3 under 10 years old. I'm not under 10 years old. My grandchildren are. But I'm a resident of Lake Oswego, Clackamas County, for 7 years, and I've testified regularly about the challenges that we've all been facing together in relation to the COVID pandemic. I just want to say kudos to your public health department. The weekly reports that are being created are excellent. They're a little hard to find, but fortunately Shannon responded a couple weeks ago when I expressed a question, and she sent me the link, she and Gary Schmidt, so I really appreciate that. So very quickly, I just want to say we're at 3% in Clackamas County in terms of percent positive on the PCR tests. For those of you who understand what this means, it's tremendous. This is a big deal. The week of February 28th, we had 428 cases in Clackamas County with 101 cases per 100,000, which is about a quarter of what it was at the beginning of February. Lots of information in this study. It's great. In the report. It's the latest information. So they even talk about a study that was published on the 28th of February about vaccines for kids and about how they're going to test the 3rd dose because they're a little concerned about the effectiveness. So we're learning all the time. Just chock full of great information. CDC has a new framework to monitor COVID because things are different than they were 2 years ago. We've gone through a lot, and we need to base our decisions on data, not emotions. We're all excited that 11:59 on the 11th of March, the mask mandate is going to be lifted. However, we must maintain a positive mask culture. If any of you saw what DeSantis did, shaming high schoolers in public for wearing masks in a county that is at still high risk for transmission, it is shameful that a governor would act that way. I thank God every day that we have Governor Brown, who has borne tons of terrible stuff to do what's right for this state. I am so proud of her. This is not theater. This is the real thing. Moving forward, continue the good work, monitor, study it. We're going to pause. vaccinate, boost for good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Christine, for your comments. I think I've told you before that both my mom and dad were nurses and worked together in the same hospital. And of course, we're very involved in public health issues. I've appreciated the fact that you have brought your nursing and your professional experience to bear when you testify here, and for reminding people that we are a community, and we are a community that cares for one another, and that that we are really kind of doing public health things to try and keep everyone safe, to try and keep everyone healthy. I know it's been difficult for some people and there's been differences of opinion, but I'm glad to see that we've weathered all of that. And I think that finally we're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it'll be a glorious day when that happens. Colleagues, anybody else want to make a comment at all?
Well, I think we're all hoping, Chair, that
Yep.
we're on the downslide. I was noting that yesterday the hospitalizations are dropping dramatically. I think we'll be at under 400, which I believe is the governor's benchmark. But I think we'll be under the 400 mark well before the 11th even. So I'm excited, and hopefully we can follow. Again, be compliant, but I couldn't help but notice during the president's inauguration, I think I only saw 2 masks being worn during that entire session. So that must be good news. I interpret that as
it's good news. I hope it's good news.
it wasn't the inauguration. It was the State of the Union. I'm sorry. Yeah. The State of the Union on Tuesday.
And I just want to also say that it's okay for people to have differences of opinion, but keep in mind it's public health, and that's what's really driving this, I think. And great. Okay. So thanks, Christine. Anybody else? Shannon.
Yes, I have one more registered speaker. If anyone else would like to speak at this time, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Our final registered speaker is Thelma Hagen-Miller. Thelma, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioner Schrader and Chair Schrader and commissioners. My name is Thelma Hagen-Miller. I reside in the unincorporated area of Clackamas County, known as Oak Grove. My testimony today is related to the possible purchase of the Eastside Athletic Club on McLaughlin Boulevard by the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. The citizens of the Oak Grove area have discovered the club is now on the retail sales market for approximately $6 million, which includes the equipment. This is a far better price than the original North Clackamas Parks and Rec District plan to spend $40 million to remodel Concord School into a sports and athletic facility and NCPRD's offices. During the forced 2020 COVID shutdown, the owners of Eastside Athletic Club took advantage of the closure to do an upgrade of the facility, including the HVAC system. The new Boardman Wetland Park, which is now a property of North Clackamas Parks, is contiguous with the Eastside Athletic property, and the area has safe access to NCPRD's East Side Trolley Trail a short distance away. In addition, the State Department of Transportation is working on a flashing beacon at Boardman Avenue, providing a safer crossing to North Clackamas Parks and Rec District's West Side Trolley Trail 1 block away. This move would allow the development of Concord School into an arts, culture, and heritage center. Theater groups such as New Century Players, Phoenix Rising, and many of the area's other musical groups could use the existing stage in the current gymnasium for their performances. The visual arts and literary arts community could hold classes and displays in the existing classrooms and the existing kitchen without a lot of remodeling. As far as the heritage part of Concord School, it would better fit the needs of the Oak Lodge history detectives for both displays and presentations. And there would be space for genealogy, the largest generator of tourism in the world. The possibilities are endless. Let your imagination wander. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thanks, Thelma. Wow, you had a few more minutes left if you wanted to, but it's always so nice to hear from you, Thelma. And, I have a soft spot for older buildings and their architecture. And I've always felt Concord School is a real gem of a building. And, we're going to keep our fingers crossed to hope at some point that it can also become the community center that it was meant to be at this point. So, anybody else want to make a comment?
I'll hold my comment after.
Okay.
I see one other speaker that might be speaking on something similar, so I'll reserve my comment afterwards.
Okay. So, Janet, anybody else left, or we?
Next up is Grover Jeffrey Bornefeld. And Grover, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Martha, and the rest of the commissioners. Nice to see you all again. I'm Grover Jeffrey Bornefeld, and I live in the unincorporated portion of North Clackamas, and I've lived here for over 30 years with my lovely wife. What I called in for today is, or want to speak to today, is I was looking at and really appreciate the packet for the agenda today that talks about the chronological previous board actions. You just run right down the list and see the dates and the parts of it that have been moving forward. I really want to thank all of you who participated in allowing that to keep going. And my biggest concern is, as Chip said, we were going to lose our library, and in 2017, with your help, we were able to become a county city, if you will, and had a settlement agreement that the county was going to build 2 libraries. And so we moved forward with that, and the reality of Concord became real. And it is so clear to see the appreciation and affection that so many people who've lived in this area for a long time have for the Concord building and its historic quality. Thank you for mentioning it, Martha. What we did in the process of, and I am on the task force, I'm on the policies, the library board, and I'm also on the parks board. So I have a lot of immersion in this, plus I was on the group that led up to even getting started on this. My point is, the Concord building needs to be honored. The library was put next to it, actually was my suggestion, and the charrette that we had to attach it on the outside. But when we started seeing that expand out and take over more and more park space, 1, and 2, then the surprise of surprises that all the assurances, the funding that the task force asked for, not worried, it's clearly in place. And then some big surprise happened in the last year that says that's all now different. So the library does need to go on its own. And I don't think it's appropriate, and if you listen to what the library board approved, was to look at all options for separate, just like back to all points for funding. We have not looked significantly at other funding, and we're having to make a decision. So I really want to focus on looking at what options, keeping it separate, let NCPRD sort out its concerns. I still have other things to say about that, but I don't have time to say that now, but to look at what will fit what you asked us to do, to have the community return and focus like we did for the 3 to 4 years of the task force to come up with a solution, and to have us quickly come up with another one without being driven down a particular path. There are a number of people who have put hours and hours of work into looking at what options we can proceed, and I'm thrilled. I love the article in the Clackamas Review. I love your guys' support. Looking forward to moving forward. Let the community give you its one voice, and we need to be able to speak on our own to get it. And that's why we're having a meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Grover. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. And I was thinking as you were talking, what's the quote? I think it's Winston Churchill never, never, never give up. I think that I think we're in that mode right now with the issues out in your area, and I'm hopeful. I don't think anything's impossible to do. And I have another quote that I often use: "The possible I can do today. The impossible may take a little while." But what I like about that is, of course, you can do. If you have the will, there's a way. So we'll make it work, my friend. Commissioner Savas, you have your hand up.
Yep. Thank you, Chair Schrader. You took the words right out of my mouth. Where there is a will, there is a way, and I've spent my life, believing that to its entirety. And I think we've been successful where we demonstrated will, because the community can find a way, and we as leaders can be part of making sure that we can get where we want to get as a community. I do want to point out something that's kind of important about the Concord site, and I think that is that the history of what's taken place there it's been a place for children, for their education. It's been part of where children can play. It's been somewhat of a recreational area by default, not by design, but by default, with the playground area and so forth. And I've always had, my kids went to school there. I've always have gone to that school and seen kids. And even today, during good weather, you'll see kids playing out in the play yard. It has always been a place for children. And I think I want to make sure that the community doesn't lose sight of that, because if there's a legacy of the property, I think the legacy has been about kids and children and education and a safe place to be. In a place where kids can recreate, learn, have social interactions and experiences. And I was taken aback by a conversation that I had with Representative Karin Power last year, when there was some money available to distribute out within her district. And we had a great conversation and a rather passionate one. And I think what we shared is our passion and our love for kids and their education. And I know that we both kind of teared up in our conversation. And I think that sometimes when we get older in life, some people maybe lose sight of that what this place is all about. And I want to make sure the community doesn't lose sight of the kids we're trying to serve. As the demographics in our area change, particularly in the Concord area, it's becoming poorer and poorer. The census tracts reveal that. I think there's more of a need ever for more care, early learning, possibly even daycare facilities, senior services, all the things that a community that is finding itself closer, unfortunately, being impoverished than ever before, that we look at it as a community center. And I think right now, more than ever, the need for a community center is before us. And how we get there, I don't know. We've definitely been listening and working with the community and making sure we achieve that. But there needs to be a strong voice for kids. And I'm hopefully, if there are some designs on that, some parents and can come forward and bring that. We did have elements of that at the open house, but it's something I think that is really, really important to me. And my neighbors as well that have kids. We can't lose sight of the legacy of that property. Thank you.
Okay. Colleagues, any other comments? Okay, I know we're all park supporters, one way or the other, that's for sure. Parks and libraries, some of the best things that we do in this state and in this country, in my opinion. But that's just one person talking here. In any case, Shannon, is there anyone else that wants to say anything?
Yes, I have one more person, Angela Nyland. Angela, please unmute yourself, state your name and residence. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. Angela Nyland, I live in Boring. Just a quick question, and if it was covered, I apologize. Zoom isn't quite cooperating with me today. When is our scheduled in-person board business meetings going forward? Do we have a start date for that? Thank you.
As far as I know, we haven't really talked about it. I know that Chair Smith is out this week, and as vice chair, I am fully expecting to have that conversation with her. Frankly, we're all anxious to get back in person and to kind of open things up. I know I am. A lot of times I miss, it's hard to be virtual because I kind of feel like the folks I work with are kind of my family too, and I don't get to see them personally. So I think it's pretty imminent, but we, as far as I know, haven't had that full discussion yet, but I anticipate. Nancy, maybe you could help me out here a little bit. I think that it's probably likely maybe by the end of March, if not before that. Can you just make I mean, it'll be our decision, but what do you?
Yeah, so as far as I know, thank you, Chair. As far as I know, the full board has not had that conversation
Okay.
as of yet. As you say, Chair, I would expect that to happen fairly soon. And we hopefully would have an announcement fairly soon for the public of when we will become, in live again. And as you said, it is the board's decision. So hopefully that discussion will happen soon.
Yeah, and we've had some pretty lively meetings, so I think we can anticipate more liveliness as we move forward here. So I hope that helps. And I see 2 hands up, Commissioner Fisher and then Commissioner Savas.
Oh, I believe Commissioner Savas was first.
Oh, Commissioner Savas. Thank you, Commissioner Fisher.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Commissioner Fisher.
Oh, Angela, I know I've been thanking, people have been communicating with us a lot today, but I really appreciate you bringing this up and appreciate all your comments and your engagement on very important issues to our community. And I just wanted to let folks know that it is not because of COVID that we are meeting virtually. It is because we are working on a safety plan. So that is in process, and I can tell you I am so looking forward to being in person, actually, and not only just because I want to be there with my colleagues, but this Zooming from early in the morning till late at night takes a toll on all of us, and we need to be doing our work in person. So one way or another, we're going to figure this out. I think that this board is committed to that, and we want to be there together and with our community members.
Okay, Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. I haven't heard from you in a long time. Good. Thank you for joining our meeting today. Yes, I brought that up on Tuesday, actually, and we discussed it. And I hope to actually put that on issues for discussion on this Tuesday when Chair Smith is back. It seems to me logical that we would coincide our meeting back in public with the mask mandate lifting, which is, I think the words I used on Tuesday were open up to public meetings no later than March 12th or sooner. So hopefully we can. I think there's a lot lost, and I think there's a lot of folks here that would like to come to our meetings that don't have access or internet access, or don't have computers at home to participate virtually. So we have some pent up demand for that, and I'm looking forward to sitting with my colleagues and the public as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay, so Nancy, when when Chair Smith gets back, I'm assuming we can put this on issues on Tuesday, but we'll make sure she's in the loop with that.
Yes, I will add that to the issues list.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. That's a good place to do it, and I invite folks to listen in as we discuss opening up after the last 2 years we've had. All right, Shannon, anyone else?
Yes, Angela Nyland had 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in her time.
I'm sorry, Angela, do you want anything else to say? Has that helped you?
It has helped quite a bit, but I just wanted to add one thing. People, I participate via my cell phone, and one of the main things that I'm missing is I cannot see the entire board during the call. So I'm only seeing, 4 people, and it's important to me because I see a lot going on at times during the board meeting, from the board members, facial expressions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, body language.
Body language is often more important than what is being said. So, I'll hold a good thought and say a prayer for Tuesday that we can get them back in person soon. Thank you.
Well, thank you for participating and being a good citizen, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if you saw the meeting I did have one meeting where I was holding my granddaughter, and I managed to get through it. So I hope you get to see that one. She's a cutie in any case. All right, Shannon, anyone else?
That's the end of my list, Chair.
Okay, that's the end of the list. So, well, let me get back to the script here. All right, Nancy, I think it's time for the county administrator update after I close the public communication portion of this meeting. So what do you got for us, Nancy?
All right, thank you, Chair. So yeah, I'd like to share some good news about Clackamas County programs that shows the amazing work that our staff have been doing. Members of the Mount Hood community met 2 weeks ago to vote to reactivate their CPO. After 2 years of inactivity, this has been a great opportunity for the county to stay better connected with the area and establish stronger relationships with community members. County staff will continue to support the newly elected CPO board as they finalize their bylaws and explore outreach strategies and tools and build leadership capacities. Last week, staff from the Planning and Zoning Division of our Department of Transportation and Development held a successful webinar on the future of middle housing here in Clackamas County. So this event is just one of the many pieces of public engagement being held by staff to involve residents in the creation of new land use regulations required by our state law. The law is aimed at increasing housing supply, housing choices, and housing affordability. Specifically here in Clackamas County, we must allow middle housing. So residences such as duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, townhouses, and cottage clusters in unincorporated urban areas currently are zoned for single-family housing no later than this June 30th. The event was a great opportunity for the public to ask questions and share suggestions on proposed zoning and development ordinance changes. And our staff reports that of the more than 40 members of the public who tuned in, nearly all were new to this dialogue with the county. So that is really good news there. So our next steps is the process, our planning commission public hearing later this month, and a board public hearing, which is slated for April. And our thanks to our planning staff for making all of this happen. So that is my good news, Chair.
Well, thank you for that, Nancy. We need good news more often than not.
That's right.
Hey, thanks for being, I just want to thank the staff. You know, I'm only temporary chair, and they've been great. You guys have been really kind to me and have helped me out and have really, I think, helped this commission move along. And in any case, so after that good news, we now have commissioner communication. And let's start with Mr. Savas.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
I'm going to piggyback actually a little bit on what Nancy had just shared with us and about House Bill 2001 and 2003. And on Wednesday, we discussed HB 2006. And these are all really legislatively driven mandates, if you will, that override urban planning, rural planning, land use planning altogether, and somewhat impose upon things that are likely going to impact some neighboring properties or the property owners themselves who wish to expand. So it's a broad thing and an issue to try to make housing affordability closer, more tangible for folks that are trying to find or become the first-time homeowners or to maintain their homes today. So it's complicated. And I when I asked Tammy Stevens this morning about how much time she put in or the Planning Commission put in on any particular matter, it's certainly, I think her mention there of maybe an average of 6 hours that the commission spends. I really think that this is so important to the quality of life for all of us, including the folks that are houseless today, that it really demands a lot of attention and devotion and commitment on us as the county commissioners representing everyone to make sure we get it right. And our discussion on yesterday on HB 2006, I struggled, honestly. I struggled because there is really a need for transparency. I think there's really a need for discussion. I think there's a need to make sure we get it right. And I think that there's too much that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Say that again, there's too much that can go wrong that really bears a greater level of attention on our behalf to maintain what people live in Clackamas County for, and that's really our quality of life. A good place to raise our kids, a good place to raise families, a great place to retire, a great place to open and run a business, all of those things that really make our lives what they are. And I hear from a lot of people when I go door to door or talk to folks about, I moved here because of what Clackamas County is. I don't want to become that place that I came from, whether that's, here north of here or somewhere else. But people come here for that specific reason, that they want to have a safe community to raise their kids and their families. So I was troubled. I was troubled by somehow that a facility that might have some folks that need mental health treatment, need drug alcohol treatment, could be literally placed right in your home next door, and you'll get a notice in the mail afterwards.
Yeah.
After the decision is made. That's wrong. That is flat wrong. We need mental health, behavioral health, drug and alcohol facilities in this region, and we need it now. We just can't house people, place them in our neighborhoods, okay, without that service and without that treatment, and expect good outcomes. We know what bad outcomes are. All we need to do is watch the news or look at the county north of us and see bad outcomes. Our citizens deserve our attention to spend the time to be transparent and pay attention as best we can to ensure our neighborhoods remain safe and sound and so forth. And I believe in transparency. I don't care. We seem to be lacking. And I get how COVID and virtual meetings has compromised our ability to be transparent, but it shouldn't compromise our will to be transparent. And I think we have a number of issues when it comes to NCPRD, for example. It comes to this Concord property. It comes to the financing that's not being disclosed. That should be disclosed. I have a number of issues, and whenever there's an opportunity to talk about any of these things in any detail, I've been cut off in the meetings. I've been interrupted and cut off. That is not transparency. That's censorship. And the people in this county deserve better. That concludes my comments for today.
Commissioner Savas, you always give heartfelt comments, and I believe that together with you and our colleagues, we will do what we need to do to the best of our ability in these difficult times. But thank you for your comments, sir. I appreciate them, and I respect them. All right, I think Commissioner Fisher, you're up next.
Thank you, Chair Schrader. First of all, I would like to put on the record that I would like to change my abstain last week on the EMS software consent agenda items. There was quite a lot of them, and I just had a few questions that I didn't have answered. And Bill Conway, he is awesome. He answered all my questions, and I was able to correct my assumptions and correct some of my concerns and have that addressed. So for the record, Nancy, could we reflect in the minutes that I'm changing my abstain to a yes for those consent agenda items?
Okay.
Thank you for that. And then I also want to share, I was very proud of our commission yesterday with our sense of urgency in moving forward on a couple items. One is our ability to really take on the legislature's, it is a mandate actually, but it's a mandate to local communities to treat homelessness like the emergency that it is. And I appreciate my colleagues moving swiftly in that regard. I just think about when we had the wildfires and we set up shelter on the safe off the streets shelter in the St. Vincent and Gladstone, the campground there. We set it up at the Elks parking lot. We set it up in Clackamas Town Center. We moved so fast when we had wildfires, when we had ice storms. We set up shelters, warming shelters, and for overnight, like so quickly. And that was so necessary for those that lost power. We know how to treat situations like emergencies. Well, our homelessness, and we don't see it as much in Clackamas County because the people in our community are not camping in tents on the street. They're camping often out of sight along corridors and in like Newell Creek and other areas. But that doesn't mean that it is not the emergency that it is. So I appreciate us moving forward with being able to cite, and I do expect that we will have robust and constructive community engagement because working with our members of the community is critical, and we as leaders in our community can set the stage for how we can do that constructively. I had a good conversation with Oregon City Chief Band, police chief there this morning, and there is so much happening about our efforts to look at the entire continuum for safety off the streets, or from safety from the elements, or safety from camping out in the elements, away from folks. And because we are moving more quickly, and the collaboration and the resources that are just on the tip of our fingers, we will be able to really assist people. And it's remarkable. We know what works. If we can get people in a place where it's safe, where there's shelter, and we can figure out what services they need to transition out of that, then we will. And we have been very successful in transitioning people to housing through COVID, through our motel hotel shelter program, through the Veterans Village, and now we have greater opportunities. So I look forward to engaging further. There are still questions. Commissioner Savas raises very good questions, and we have to really be mindful of what things we need to keep an eye on. I was texting with Commissioner Scholl yesterday saying, hey, why don't we really focus on some of these areas and make sure that we get the answers, because we also have questions, and we want to make sure that things are moving forward in the way that we expect them to. But I am proud of us. I'm proud of Clackamas County. I'm proud of this commission. And we are doing great things. The need is great. The urgency is great. And we are poised to meet it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fisher. And now, bat and cleanup, Commissioner Shull.
Yes, good morning, Clackamas County. And thank you to our callers for adding to our meeting this morning. On safe routes to school, Clackamas County is taking applications for the Traffic Safety Commission. The deadline is 15 March. See the clackamas.us traffic safety website for more information. Now for a little bit of fun. For your artistic kids, the K through 8 Safe Routes to School poster contest is now open. And students are invited to submit original drawings, paintings, or computer-generated artwork for a chance to win. Submissions will be accepted through 1 April. And there's 3 groups: kindergarten through 2nd grade, 3 through 5th grade, and 6th through 8th grade. And first place is a $100 gift card. So let's have some fun with that. I look forward to seeing all that great artwork. Also, check the website to see if your school is listed with a completed Safe Routes to School action plan. If not, best get working on one. On the Aurora Airport, the first public meeting for the airport master plan update was held on 1 March by the Oregon Department of Aviation. Although the airport lies in Marion County, many airport employees reside in Clackamas County, and the decision-making process for this plan affects our Clackamas County communities. And you can see more on the Oregon Department of Aviation website. on the Vietnam Memorial for the Oregon State Capitol grounds. As you may know already, Steve Bates, candidate for Senate District 29, is the force behind the Vietnam Memorial for the Oregon State Capitol grounds, and our Vietnam veterans will receive much needed recognition when this impressive project is built, and you can help make it happen. See the Vietnam War Memorial Fund.org. Every dollar helps. Thank you very much. On the Mount Hood multimodal plan, ODOT is finishing up the update multimodal plan. And if you are a traveler from Sandy to Government Camp to Hood River that needs transit, please look at this plan and see the Oregon.gov ODOT projects and learn more. On the Sunrise Corridor, which everybody in Clackamas County is so concerned about, the 2021 Oregon legislature passed HB 5006, which gave us $4 million for a study. And everybody needs to look at this. And you're going to find more at clackamas.us, transportation, Sunrise Corridor, community visioning concept. This is a huge, huge project that hopefully will result in the construction of that Sunrise Corridor. But between now and then, every citizen needs to weigh in on this project. On the Association of Oregon and California Counties, we had a meeting on 25 February where we discussed the AOCC 2022 priorities. Now, Clackamas County can expect the FY 21-22 secure rural schools payment to arrive in April. Last year we got $675,000 plus from that. This year I expect we'll get just a little bit more. And in June, the Association of ONC Counties, the Bureau of Land Management, and the State Forester will put on a field tour of wildfire damage on ONC lands in Northwest Oregon. So they're going to be coming to visit us in Clackamas County, and maybe next month we'll learn more about that visit. Our Clackamas County dues for 2022-23 remain unchanged at $31,000 based on our 94,085 acres of ONC forest lands. This amount, again, is unchanged. In comparison, Douglas County will pay $142,000 in dues for their almost 750,000 or thereabout acres of ONC lands. And I would like to take a moment to remember somebody. This is a very sad thing that our friend Leela Blakely has passed on to her creator upon losing her battle with COVID. Leela was a fine woman who had courage in the conviction of her beliefs in God and in her devotion to country and in her desire to see a strong America that respects the Constitution and liberty. The people of Clackamas County will miss her glowing personality, her strength of character, and her community activism. And our thoughts and prayers go out to her family. And with that, I thank you for your time, and may God bless Clackamas County.
Thank you, Commissioner Shull. You do a great job, and I don't know how I can follow that, to be perfectly honest. I think I'm just going to be short and just say I really want to thank the folks that work with us here for helping me out this week. You know, I've had the gavel before, and but I'm really looking forward to having Chair Smith back and really handing the gavel back. But you've all helped me so much this week with the information I've needed, with actually getting me set up here. So, you know, it's working really well. I did recently, as I said, had an opportunity to work work with my family around me and got a chance to see my grandchildren and got a chance to see my kids and do what most grandmas do and what a lot of women do, because I believe it's Women's Month this month. And we multitask and we do it well. And, you know, it's a big piece of what we do as women in leadership, quite frankly, is to kind of handle the kids, handle the family, handle the job, be on top of things. And I've been very grateful that I have colleagues that have been so supportive of that. Really appreciate you guys understanding and supporting me. So with that, much thanks to everyone. Have a great day. It's sunny out. Hopefully you'll have a great weekend and we'll adjourn.